What are the chances of survival for a man who faces a hurricane in a mastless fishing boat? The hungry shark circling his boat and his desperate stare toward the looming waterspout in the distance could give us a hint. Luckily, the painter of this work, Winslow Homer, reluctantly told us how the story ended. I say reluctantly because he didn't really like it when he had to explain what his paintings were about. This painting is titled The Gulfstream, and it's one of the dozens of seascapes that the popular American painter completed. It was the epitome of Homer's fascination with the mighty ocean and man's struggle against it. In my opinion, this painting also highlights how he mastered this rather difficult genre. In this video, I'll tell you all about this painting, as well as the fascinating story of one of the greatest American painters in history. Winslow Homer was born on February 24, 1836 in Boston, Massachusetts, but he grew up in the nearby Cambridge, which was a rural area back then. His father was a money-hungry businessman, but that was never meant to be Winslow's direction in life, as he inherited his artistic talent from his mother. Homer was one of those artists who didn't start off his career as an oil painter. Instead, he followed his father's advice and started working as a commercial lithographer in Boston, following his high school years. This job was nothing more than a copy and paste endeavor on a lithograph stone to produce music sheet covers. Winslow was never the type to work for a boss, and on top of this particular job didn't allow him to unleash the creativity he had inside of him. He still had to make ends meet though, and so he focused on a career as a freelance illustrator. He was a talented graphic designer and contributed to local magazines for about 2 decades, including, for example, Harper's Weekly. He eventually pursued his ultimate dream to become a painter and moved to New York City in 1859, which was quickly becoming the artistic center in the area. He opened his studio the same year at the former 10th Street studio building in the Greenwich Village neighborhood of New York. He had mainly worked as an illustrator back then, so he needed to sharpen his painting skills. He briefly studied at the National Academy of Design, and if it was up to his mother, he would have been sent to Europe to become a master. Instead, the magazines he worked for sent him to the front lines of the American Civil War so he could sketch the soldiers and battle scenes. Homer was blessed with an incredible amount of talent. He hardly needed any training to produce some of his first major oil paintings during the 1860s. His talent was instantly recognized. His oil paintings had a sense of realism in both colors and emotional depth that was unique at the time. He visited Paris for the first time in 1867, an incredibly exciting period in art history. It was around this time that a group of painters emerged who are known today as the Impressionists. Remarkably, Winslow Homer already painted outdoors in the United States, a distinctive characteristic of Impressionism. That's about where the comparison between him and painters such as Claude Monet and Pierre-Auguste Renoir ends. Homer developed his own style, which can be best compared to that of Édouard Manet, the French painter who formed the bridge between realism and Impressionism. I personally find Homer's paintings of the 1870s his most exciting works. They intriguingly convey the optimism that was felt in American society following the conclusion of the American Civil War. Homer often traveled, and the idyllic depictions of life in rural America were likely fueled by a sense of nostalgia for his childhood. He also traveled across the ocean and even spent 2 years in the small village of Cullercoats in the utmost northeastern part of England. There, Homer painted a large number of watercolors depicting local people, but the sober nature of his works and the dull color palette he used weren't really appreciated back home. Shortly after his return in 1883, he moved to Prouts Neck, Maine. It's there that he started painting the first heroic oil paintings depicting the harsh life of local fishermen. It was a subject that fascinated Homer during the final decades of his life, and which he truly mastered. The American painter continued to travel around the world and also visited the Caribbean frequently. These trips once again changed the color palette he used in his paintings, as they became a lot brighter. Yes, Homer was an incredibly versatile artist. Even though he was already an established painter since the 1860s, he still had a hard time making enough money for his family. The demand for seascapes wasn't as high as that of portraits, so he often had to wait many years before his paintings got sold for a humble amount of money. This didn't hold him back though, and he visited Key West in Florida numerous times. It's believed that this was where he completed the preparatory drawings for the Gulf Stream, a painting he completed in 1899. About a decade before he passed away in 1910, he achieved both financial and artistic success. By the turn of the century, he was recognized as the preeminent American Realism painter of his time. So now let's take a closer look at the Gulf Stream, one of his most celebrated seascapes. To Winslow Homer, completing this painting must have felt like a culmination of subjects that he had worked on during the past decades. He already produced several works featuring elements that come together in this painting. These include a detailed view of a mastless boat, a boat featuring several sharks, and a watercolor titled Shark Fishing. Some art historians have made a comparison to another famous shark painting titled Watson and the Shark. This work was painted by John Singleton Copley over a century earlier. It depicts the rescue of English boy Brooke Watson off the coast of Havana, Cuba, in 1749. Although Watson lost his right leg during this attack, he was saved and even became the mayor of London in his later life. It's fascinating to see that Copley's shark is unrealistic, while Homer's sharks are accurate depictions of these fearsome animals. Winslow Homer definitely saw these creatures circling his own boat on multiple occasions. The other striking notion is that the situation of the stranded man seems incredibly hopeless. While Watson is about to be rescued, the man in Homer's painting desperately looks at the imminent danger. Things really don't look good. A waterspout developed nearby and the ship in the top left corner is barely visible. The man looks vulnerable and the open sea appears extremely threatening as a big wave can capsize the small boat at any moment. When the painting was exhibited and seen by the public for the first time, many questions arose as to what happened to the man. When Homer was asked about this, he clearly didn't like it and even apologized for completing a painting that required an explanation. He responded by saying that the man survived and he was able to return to his home safely. He emphasized this by painting a watercolor that serves as a sequel to his famous oil painting and which tells the complete story. It's titled After the Hurricane and shows the same man lying on a beach next to his destroyed boat. After several exhibitions during the first years of the 20th century, Homer put the painting for sale and asked $4,000 for it. It was eventually purchased by the Metropolitan Museum of Art in 1906 and still currently resides at the immense museum in New York City. To conclude, I think that Winslow Homer was one of the few artists in history who really mastered the art of painting seascapes. He found a lot of inspiration at his studio in Prout's Neck, which was located just near the Atlantic Ocean. Today, his former studio is a National Historic Monument and can be visited as part of the Portland Museum of Art. His painting titled The Gulf Stream was the conclusion of Homer's ultimate fascination, that of the struggle of man against nature. While he painted many mesmerizing seascapes, it's in my opinion one of the few paintings that is able to capture the true force of the vast ocean.